Today I'm going to present you introduction to C programming. So basically we are going to discuss the overview of C programming over here in this session. So let's begin with it. So so today agenda is to talk about history of C programming and what is C programming, feature of C programming, fundamental of it, and compilation stages and execution of C program when you execute it, and memory layout and storage classes, a small case study, and what are the key applications and key industries where C programming is being used uh, now these days. So, so C programming was developed. Uh, the initial version of the programming was developed in 1972 during the development of Unix operating system by Dennis Ritchie. And then the second version of it was developed in 1978 by Brian Kerrigan and Dennis Ritchie. There they introduced a standard library, long unsigned int, data type, and compound assignment. So that version of C++ is known as K and R C programming. Then later on in 1988, American National Standard Institute and International Organization for Standardization developed a new version of it. And so there they removed the non-portable library, which was introduced in Unix C library by developing in Unix operating systems. So they removed and they make it POSIX library. So POSIX stands for Portable Operating System Interface. So it is a family of standards specify the IEEE Computer Society for maintaining compatibility between operating system. So in 1999, so few more feature was added, that is our inline function, a new data type such as long int, complex variable length array. So there was a few features those were introduced, that is inline function. Okay, those are used when you are having small functions. So using inline keyword, inline keyword, you can replace the definition of this particular function where it is getting called, but it is just a request to the compiler whether compiler will take as a inline function or not. And then the new data type such as long int and complex and variable length, so there these new data type also was included in that. And they improved the IEEE 754 floating point for the double and the float type data type. And they also introduced the most part of the background compatibility with C90 version in this C99 version of C. And then in 2011, they added few more features in C programming. Those are generic macro, anonymous structure, atomic operations, and multi-threading as well. And in 2017, there are no features was introduced there, and only technical correction and clarification of the defect, those were there in C11 language version. So those were corrected over here. Now we talk about C programming. So basically C programming is a general purpose procedural programming language. It also supports structural programming, and it was designed to be compiled to provide low level access to memory. So that's how it is called a low level programming language as well. So it was also designed to increase cross platform programming, where we do cross compilation in terms of embedded systems, if you know. And it can be compiled for a variety of the computer platform and operating system for by making few changes in the source code. So that's how it is a portable language as well. And C programming was built for the performance and better memory management. So where we are writing operating systems, embedded systems, real-time systems, and communication systems in C programming. And the C programming combines the feature of both high level and low level programming. So as I talked about embedded systems, so embedded system programming is nothing but it is an extension of C programming, where we are having some features like fixed point arithmetic and multiple distinct memory bank. So we can have the different memory bank where the program can be reside. And there are basic input output operation that C programming will support, since it is low level programming. And it this programming C programming also used for the system programming in implementing of operating systems and embedded systems applications. And now we talk about the feature of C programming. So as we talked about, it is a high level programming. It is also known as a low level programming sometimes, since we are accessing all the hardware peripherals through the C programming language. And it supports the structural language as well. And since it is having the standard library, that is the huge library, which also supposed to programmer to write a better code in C programming. And it is an extensive programming language. It can be extended like embedded C we have, so it is an extension of C programming. And since we are using vector memory allocation and all the like we have the low level authority of the device, so it is very efficient and it support the better memory management as well. And this is there is no firmware like we have .NET Java, and also there is some kind of medium software those on those the language application is executing, but here it is executing to the machine only, so it is having the faster execution. And once you create any program and you compile it on any particular compiler and the operating system, generally it will work in other operating system as well if you run. So that's why it is portable. So now we will talk about fundamental. So basically now we are talking about just an overview, so I am not going into the deep, but I will be clearing all the things which are really required to clarify over here. So now we talk about tokens. So what is token? So token is a very smallest unit in C program. Okay, so it is a each and every word or punctuation that we use in C programming. Like you suppose that if we use int a is equal to 10, so int is a one token, and second token is equal to operator is also one token. So the compiler break our program into the smallest possible units, that is we call tokens. Okay, that is proceed the various stages of the compilation stages that we have. Like we will talk about those stages later on. Okay, these tokens will help. Now we talk about what is variable and constants. So variable is an identifier which is used to store some values. So suppose that if you want to store some integer value, so you will create a one variable like int a is equal to 10. So a is a integer variable over here. So that is holding the value in a particular memory in the controller or somewhere when you run it. And if you talk about constant, so once you have the constant keyword before the declaration of any variable, so it will make it a constant. So why we need the constant? Generally, if we have any constant like which we don't want to modify it to entire application or entire block of it, so we write a constant variable. So we don't want to directly modify it. Maybe through the pointer we can modify the value of this particular pointer, the particular variable that we declare as a constant. Now we talk about keywords. So keywords are predefined and reserved word for the C programming, and these are the having the special meaning to the compiler. So basically, this is the these call these uh, keywords are very case sensitive. Okay, so these are total 45 keywords now in the latest version of it. And so these keywords are, for example, auto, int, size of, volatiles, and many more. So these are known to compiler. Oh, now we talk about pointers. So pointer is also a special type of variable which hold the address of a defined type of variable. So basically it is holding the address of any other variable. So suppose that if we have int uh, I is equal to 10. So if you want to modify this int I means I variable to indirectly, then we can create a pointer like int star ptr. So ptr is a pointer that is pointing to I through the ampersand I. Ampersand I is nothing but a address of I variable. So we can access the I variable through pointer, and we can modify and we can read whatever operation we want to do, we can do through that. That is the powerful feature of C programming. That's how it is low level programming, where we are accessing the addresses. We can access the hardware access address as well through if we know the address, so we can access through the pointer. So data type. So basically, C programming provides the four basic arithmetic type specifier. Those we call like character, integer, float, and double. So character is a 1 byte. So it needs 1 byte in memory. Integer basically needs 4 byte, and float needs also 4 bytes. And if we talk about double type of variable, it will hold 8 byte in main memory. And if we talk about modifier, so there are a modifier which is used for to get the positive value or like negative value if you want to get. So we can have signed, we can declare as a signed to that particular variable. If we don't, we just have the positive value only, so we can have only unsigned modifier for that. And if I want to make a small that integer to 2 bytes, so we can use sort. So these are a modifier. And if I want to make it long, like I want to add 4 more byte, so it will make a 8 byte memory allocation for that particular variable. So we can use long. Now we talk about the control statement. Basically, our C program is executing from top to down. If we write the source codes from the top instruction to down, it will be executing. If we want to change the flow or the control of the any special any program, so we can use a control statement. So it enables us to specify the flow of the program control. That is the order in which the instructions in the program must be executed. Okay, so basically these are four type of control statement in C. uh, One is decision making statement, where we use C. So this if else blocks, and if else ladder also we have. Okay, so if condition is true, if in example, so the if block would be called, otherwise else block would be called. So that's how we are making the decision. And if we talk about the selection statement, so we are having switch block over here. There we have the certain cases. So based on the switch block is getting value. So basically we are passing the integer value over here. We don't pass any float or double value over here, since it will support only integer value like integer and character only. And so based on that, it will be executing to the particular case. If those cases are not defined, so default case would be executed in that case. And iteration statement. So basically these are a loop, like we have for loop, while loop, and we have do while loop as well. So where if we talk about for loop, so we have initialization state in the for loop syntax. So and then we have test expression and the update statement we have, then we have body inside that. So what here we are initializing the iterator, so that we are iterating to that particular for loop, and then we are testing it. If the test is fails, like if the comparison is fails, it is false, so we will come out the loop. And if we talk about while loop, so while loop is like here we are not initializing. So we need to take care, programmer need to take care of the initialization of the variable that is being used for the test expression in the while loop. And we need to increment or decrement if we are doing any kind of increment operation on the test expression. So we need to increment within the body of it, or we can do that test expression as well. And do while loop is that which will be executing at least one time. So the test expression will be checked at the last when it will execute. That is the difference between while and do while loop. And if we talk about jump statement, it is a go-to statement. Like we will write a go-to statement somewhere. There we have one level. So that level is also defined somewhere. So the control will jump. Once we start execution, so the control will jump to that particular level which is defined. So generally we don't use this. We avoid to use in the vector programming design and all, because we use generally loops instead of go to statement. Okay, now we talk about operators. So C programming supports various type of operators. Okay, and operator is nothing but these are a symbol. Okay, that operates on value or variable. Okay, so those are kind of operand you could say. And if you talk about arithmetic operators, so those are like addition, subtraction, division, modulo. And if you want to have increment, decrement, so there are decrement or increment operators. So those are also post and pre operators. Assignment operators are also used to assign any value to any variable. Okay, so you can have the compound statement as well. You can assign the value having the any additional operation with that. And we have relational operators. So relational operators will compare two operand, and then it will return false and true. So equal to will check the both operands are true or not. If those are equal, and then the true will be returning in that case. So that is the uh, this relational operators. And logical operators are the operators which are giving you true and false again. And if we talk about and, so both uh, uh, variable or the operand would be having the true value, then only it will be returning true, otherwise it will be returning false. And if you talk about or operator, logical of, if any one of operand is having true value, if it is evaluating true value, then the output would be true. If both are false, then only output would be false. And the not operator, whatever you are having in the at the result, it is inverting to like if you have true, so it will invert to false. If you have false, so it will make it true. So bitwise operator are used on the bit manipulation, and also where you are comparing the bit and you are changing the bit. So and basically will compare both bit. Okay, if the both bit are one, then it will make it to one. The result would be one. If any one of them is zero, so similar logical operator, it will also return false. Like it will make it zero. If you talk about or bitwise operator, so any one of bit is one, so it will make it one. XOR, like if their both bit are same, so a result bit would be zero in that case. So both bits should be different if you want to get one as a bit. And tilde operator will make a complement of whatever you have as a variable or as a data. It will just make it. It will just invert your bits. Whatever you have, if you have zero, so it will make one. If you have one, it will make zero. And there we have left shift, right shift. So left shift will lift shift one time. You need to give one one more operand over here. So based on that, it will be shifting the data, whatever you have. So there are some other operator as well, like comma operator. It is also separator. And size of ternary operator, and reference operator, which is used to get the address of any variable or something. And dereference operator, that we have star. So where we want to get the value of the point from the pointer, so we do dereference. Member selection operators are the operators which are used within, like if we have structure, there we have one pointer. So So if we want to access this pointer, so we will be using this selection operator. Generally, we use in linked list this kind of operators. So now we talk about functions. So suppose that if we, mostly if we write a program, so we need to divide into functions to make a better readability, maintainability, and reusability. So the large program can be divided into the basic building block known as a function. So that is just a basic definition. So function can be called multiple times to provide reusability and modulability to the C programming. And function is also known as service routine. And if we talk about function aspect, so we need to declare the function first, we need to define it, then we can call it. So the parameter would be there, like we are passing argument. If you see the example over here, we are declaring first. So we need to write the return type. If we don't have any return from that function, so we will write void. So it will not return anything. If it is returning integer, so we will write int, and then we will write function name. And if there is any argument that we are passing, so we need to identify and we need to declare those, like whether these are int, float, and whatever. And those similar way we need to define it. So where we are during the definition, we are defining the body of it. So in the body of this particular function, we are writing all the statement which is executed by this particular function when it is getting called. And called when we are want to call it, so we just use the name, and if there any argument that we are passing, so we will mention those argument while calling, so it will be called. So basically, functions are two types, like library function, which are given from the standard library. So there are header file which are defined, and those header file we generally used, and through that we can access those function within our module, .c module, you could say. And so if you know, like scanf, printf, those are defined in the stdio.h file. So there, those are defined based on or during the linking time, those definition will be getting referenced over there, and based on the static and dynamic linking, those will be handling on the linking stage. And if you have user defined function, user defined function is like the programmer is writing the function for their sake of the complexity. If they want to reduce the complexity, they want better management and optimize the code, so they will write the functions. So these are user defined functions. Now we talk about array. So array is nothing but a collection of the simple type of similar type of data items. Those are stored in continuous memory locations. So if you talk about array aspect, how it works. So we first we need to declare it. So during the declaration, if as we declare any variable, similar way we declare over here array as well, like where we are giving data type and array name, and there we are declaring a size as well. So we need to identify the size as well, how much size of array we are declaring. And if you are, suppose that if you are taking this example, integer number 5, 5 in square bracket, so it is describing like a number is the one array that is also representing base address of that particular array, and it is holding 5 integer values and continuous memory location.